Hi friends, welcome back. So is Elon Musk and Tesla the biggest fraud in history? And is this generation's Enron? That's the subject of today's video. We're also going to go through the Tesla files as they're called. And guys, there's a whole bunch here to unpack. So get your popcorn ready and let's just jump right in. First, let's start with this. So if you remember back in April, one of the Facebook co-founders, so this was Dustin Moskovitz, he's like, hey, Tesla is the next Enron, massive fraud, biggest fraud in history kind of thing. Just recently now we have, I guess you could call it an amendment from Aaron Greenspan. He's suing Tesla over all kinds of fraud. And we're going to go through the details of stuff. I'll just say, guys, it's more than one thing. I want to make that really clear. It's really complicated, more than one thing. It's against Tesla, X, and a bunch of Elon Musk enablers. To give you an idea of how crazy this is, this is part of the filing here. We're talking about all kinds of different fraud, right? Hardcore litigation fraud, stock inflation fraud, full self-driving fraud, autopilot fraud, solar fraud, vehicle quality fraud, accounting fraud, market manipulation fraud. Lots of different types of fraud that are being accused afterward or claimed, right? Accusations in the lawsuit. When you get into the accounting fraud, I'll just read through some of it. It's extensive. So accounting fraud regarding how much cash Tesla has, it's their cash balances, fraud on their earned interest, fraud on their cash stuck in China, fraud on their account receivable, a fraud on their accounts payable, fraud on tax evasion, right? It's like a lot. Fraud regarding their delivery numbers. Fraud, there's no actual definition. Fraud on their delivery count, new count, fraud on their delivery count used. Multiple undisclosed dynamic incorrect methodologies, rush delivery of defective vehicles, another fraud, multiple deliveries per vehicle fraud, over conflicted overseas auditors in the dark fraud, and contradictions with known sales metrics, new vehicle registrations, and Google invoices. You also have warranty and reserves and goodwill repairs fraud, material weaknesses and internal controls fraud, and lying in public to justify revenue recognition fraud. So multiple things going on here, guys. It is really hard to keep track of all of it because there's so much. And then you got your overt market manipulation fraud, broadcasting propaganda, social media fraud, right? Fraudulent price targets, silencing your critics, and then hardcore litigation fraud. So where to begin? So like I told you guys, it's a lot. What's going on here? There's this guy named Aaron Greenspan. He has a site called PlainSite. He actually got banned from Twitter back in June of 2023. Essentially, his website called PlainSite, it keeps track of a bunch of legal documents and such. And what they were doing, they were just like making it really easy to find all of the lawsuits and things going against Elon Musk and Tesla. Guys, because I do the news every day, so I actually see the lawsuits come in, and there's always something, right? And I even have a hard time remembering, how many there are. Like I saw something the other day, there was like 32 ongoing suits or something like that. It's like really a lot. But anyway, so they made it really easy to categorize and find all of the details of this stuff. Elon Musk obviously didn't like that, so he bans this guy from Twitter. Then Aaron Greenspan sues for all different things, and this is part of the lawsuit. I also want to point out though too that he sued before it got dismissed. Right, I want to make that clear. But the judge made a statement of like, hey, you can file again. I'll read it here. It says, right here. Donato had previously dismissed the case in June. That's the judge's name, Donata. But he offered Greenspan the opportunity to file another complaint on federal legal issues. The judge wrote that claims such as defamation that were made under California law would be taken under, as warranted. So this is relating to like some defamation stuff. So basically he's saying like, they're saying bad stuff about me, etc. How this stuff works, and for those of you who are lawyers, there's always different ways to file stuff. The other thing is like, even if someone makes an allegation, doesn't necessarily mean they're true. So I want to make that really clear. The thing is that sort of, how can I say, that makes me feel like some of this stuff has teeth, is that I've seen it reported in Bloomberg before regarding some of the Tesla's accounting fraud. And I've noticed a lot of weird peculiarities with Tesla, as you guys know, if you watch my channel, that are not normal for a normal company. Simple examples, talking about Tesla kind of fraud, and you guys know this stuff. Like, it's like a cult-like atmosphere. And this is like, I guess, 4 years ago, where they're doing podcasts. And some of these people are naming the suit, namely the Omar guy. He's I think his name is like the Mars. It's the Mars guy on Twitter. I can't remember the full thing. But yeah, that's the Omar dude. And the stuff that happens with Tesla, like, it's also public. There's even a clip of like Omar and Galileo, whatever the guy's name is, and they're testing the FSD. The FSD doesn't work, and then they like say, "Oh, should we cut it?" Meaning that the YouTube influencers are instructed, to only show good things about FSD and to edit it to make sure it doesn't show any kind of things where it doesn't work. And we've heard the reports of this stuff before. I was checking out Reddit, and I'll just tell you guys, the lawsuit itself is really extensive. It's like 160 pages, and someone actually went through, I guess, with ChatGPT to summarize this stuff, which is actually quite interesting, and it kind of goes through it again. So I want to go some more details. So this says here, and this is coming from OK Run, so thanks OK for your work with ChatGPT. I should also thank Tesla's founding and Musk role, right? If you don't know, like, Musk invested in this thing and he sued the co-founders to try to get the title of it. So it kind of goes over that, or, goes over Musk's influence of public image. So the suit actually lays out everything. It'll probably end up being a book. One of the things I thought was interesting about the suit, where it mentioned how Mr. Musk likes to hire young guys who are unimpressionable, fresh college graduates. And essentially, when you're like a young employee and you think Mr. Musk is awesome, you don't really question anything, and you just go along with it, and you don't really know exactly what is illegal or not, just because you're young and you're like a trainee kind of person. You guys understand what I'm saying? So and then I guess at least the suit claims that as you get older and then you learn the ropes of corporate America and you realize, oh my God, I'm doing illegal stuff, either keep your mouth shut or resign. So there's that. I was thinking about that when he was reading that. He also refers to the Tesla organization as being like one of those Russian dolls where you pull out one and it keep pulling out more and more smaller pieces. I think in Russian you'd say the Matryoshka doll, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Autopilot fraud. So the summary would be: Tesla exaggerated the capabilities of its autopilot system, claiming it could drive cars autonomously, leading to safety issues and misleading the public. Right? We already know this stuff, but the thing is, it's like when it all comes together, you realize like how egregious this company is. Full self-driving fraud. So Tesla sold FSD packages with promises of full autonomy that were never fulfilled. Marketing materials such as videos were intentionally misleading. We talked about this before several times on the channel, how they, the way that they say things. And in fact, it's interesting because they even had to change full self-driving. I think that they added the word supervised. And also too, if you guys saw my last video, Tesla's even removing stuff from their website, like their original mission plan, etc. Here's another one: stock inflation fraud. Tesla's stock price was artificially inflated through a combination of misleading financial reports and exaggerated claims about technology and future prospects. He does this all the time on Twitter. You guys know Elon Musk. I mean, you can look at any number of statements that he makes about, we're selling robots next year, or the FSD is going to be next year, et cetera, right? Or we're going to have a robotaxi thing in August 8th, 2024. It didn't happen. Now it's going to be October 10th, or you bring out someone, to show your robot, but it's someone like dressed up in a suit. Guys, most companies like don't do these kind of things. So it's like, so when I read through the stuff, it's not out of the question that all this stuff could end up being true. Well, I mean, we're going to see how it holds up in court, because obviously Musk has a right to defend himself in a court of law. He does have good lawyers. He does beat lawsuits, right? He gets a lot of them. But how this stuff is laid out is so nuts. Market manipulation. Tesla and Musk manipulated the stock market by spreading false information and using deceptive practices to maintain high stock prices. Solar fraud. Tesla solar products were unsafe and unreliable, yet marketed as innovative and profitable, misleading consumers and investors about their true value. Vehicle quality fraud. Tesla covered up significant quality issues in its vehicles using non-disclosure agreements and goodwill services to prevent customers from speaking out. That's an interesting one. And I'm just thinking about this, like, could I even ask any of you out there who have a Tesla, did you sign any sort of NDA regarding that you can't say if the car doesn't work? There's all sorts of claims of like where, just for example, Tesla will double count cars on sales, or if a car comes in and is broken and then they fix it and they send it back out, they might count that as a sale or delivery. Like all these kind of accounting things. Like I said, guys, it's more than one thing. When you talk about accounting fraud with Tesla, I'll just read through these summaries. Like I said, it's so much to go through. Deferred revenue manipulation. So Tesla recognized revenue from the FSD packages before the features were fully functional, creating a misleading financial picture. Delayed cost recognition. Tesla delayed reporting certain expenses, which made the company appear more profitable than it was. Right? This is all cook in the books, basically. Overstating earnings by not recognizing all of costs up front. Tesla reported higher earnings, misleading investors about its profitability. Revenue recognition for faulty products. Tesla declared incomplete and faulty software as the operational to justify recognizing revenue that should have been deferred, right? So like all these situations where you shouldn't count that as revenue, they're just counting it, right? So you're basically pumping your books. Stealing customer funds. This is crazy. Tesla used deceptive practices in its mobile app to trick customers into purchasing FSD upgrades, then refused refunds and recorded the amounts as revenue. If you guys have been subject to this kind of thing where you feel like you've been tricked to buy FSD, please let me know in the comments. I guess there was a famous person that happened to, and then they tweeted Musk directly and did get a refund, but most people didn't. I mean, it keeps going on here. Hardcore litigation of fraud. Musk allegedly used fraudulent lawsuits to punish critics and protect Tesla's reputation, financing these efforts with proceeds from securities fraud. So I'm doing a fraudulent lawsuit and I'm using fraudulent gains to do said fraudulent lawsuits. So essentially, if you go after Musk, I guess he'll sue you and make all sorts of crazy claims about you, etc. And Aaron Greenspan was unfortunately the subject of this stuff. I'm not shocked when I read through these things. Again, I want to make it clear these are allegations, but a lot of the stuff I've seen reported in the news, and I've seen multiple lawsuits regarding these things already. This is just sort of one lawsuit all packaged together. What else we got here? Let's see. Harassment, suppression of credit. So you talk about that. The Tesla files. Internal documents leaked by a Tesla employee revealed widespread fraud within the company, confirming many of the accusations made by Greenspan. Okay. Litigation history. Greenspan has filed multiple lawsuits against Tesla and Musk. I've told you guys before, and Musk's other companies. Someone else actually did another on Reddit. And again, I'm just thankful to Reddit for people to sort of make it easier to digest, because I read through this stuff and it's like, how can you even talk about this in a YouTube video? It's so much to go through. But someone's saying, hey, you forgot about the selling used vehicles as new, or sales numbers don't match registrations. Actually, that is mentioned in the summary. It's the, I guess we have like some sort of numbers out of Google and the numbers coming directly from the company that don't match. Union busting, illegal union busting. They were sued recently by UAW. That was with the Trump and the Musk interview. Essentially, like if you're Musk was like, Trump was actually complimenting Musk of like, if people complain, you just fire them. That's awesome. And they laugh about it. But that right there, whether or not it's intimidation, we'll let the court decide. Sexual harassment, we've seen all kinds of stuff like that. Racism, lawsuits over at Tesla, we've seen stuff like that. And usually Tesla actually just settles those things. So whether or not it's guilty or not, I'll let you guys be the judge. I'll just say they settle. And then non-refundable order fees. There's a bunch of people that give deposits to Tesla but don't ever get a vehicle. Who knows about that? So I wanted to give you the rundown of this stuff. Is this going to end up being the biggest fraud in history? It's looking that way. I'm gonna, and this is Mr. Twitter Fingers here. Let me open this up. This is Mr. Twitter Fingers here, Elon Musk. I'm actually looking forward to see what happens to this guy. There's been reports about rampant drug use, etc. And the whole thing with Brazil now, or UK or France. I think he actually can't travel to other countries. He risking getting arrested for the whole stuff he's with X. And he even mentioned before, he says, this is from Elon Musk's own words, probably wise for me to limit movements to countries where free speech is constitutionally protected, whatever that means. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this thing. There's Musk with his supporters. Do you think this is the biggest fraud in history like Enron? And will Elon Musk go down in shame? So that's the subject, and I just want to get your guys' thoughts on this one. If you want to read this thing for yourself, you can. This is Aaron Greenspan. It's over on his site, PlainSite. You can also find some stuff on Reddit, and you're going to find a whole list of allegations of fraud and different kinds of fraud against Tesla. So appreciate your time, everyone. Please share your thoughts, and I'll catch you on the next video.